Hey everybody, I'm going to take you through the new Abbey post mount cutter. And I've got a cutter, just two components making it up. Got a shoulder bolt with the appropriate threads to work with our caliper or adapter mounting hardware. And the real meat of the tool is a cutter that we are machining in-house and then sending out to have it locally sharpened here in Bend, Oregon. Now, the goal for the post mount cutter is to create a perpendicular surface between the contact point for the caliper or the adapter and the caliper or adapter mounting hardware. So I've already gone through the process on this fork here and done both top and bottom post mounts on there. The cutter itself has been designed to work with magnesium, aluminum, steel, titanium, and carbon fiber. And in most cases with carbon fiber, if not all cases with carbon fiber, we're going to be removing maybe a clear coat, a little bit of paint to get down to the aluminum threaded insert that's been bonded in during the manufacturing of the frame or the fork. So again, compatible with the most common materials that we're going to see post mounts manufactured from. And caveat to this is again, the purpose of the tool is to create a perpendicular interface between the caliper mounting surface and the caliper mounting bolt or hardware. If you do encounter a post mount system that you're unable to get to align properly, is it caliper alignment relative to rotor or pad alignment relative to rotor, not running parallel to each other on there, that could be a case of deviation far beyond what our tool is really focused on taking care of. And there are a number of manufacturers out there that have a more in-depth disc brake facing setup. So keep that in mind. If you do start to go down that path, make sure you're taking accurate measurements and just verifying where your deviation is from nice alignment on there. Now, with the cutter, we're going to have it operating with a hand drill here. And one thing that's important is each of the drills have different RPMs. We've got a two-stage or two settings on this drill here. And we dug into the manufacturer's information and found out the RPMs, that what's a full trigger pull on the first setting versus a full trigger pull on the second setting. And in the video, we'll show you the process of utilizing the tool, but just be mindful on there. The various types of drills you're going to use, you should consider what you need relative to RPMs based on the material that you're working with. And that's the base material. Is it aluminum? Is it steel? Is it titanium, magnesium? So we've got some ballpark figures in the bottom of the screen here, just covering kind of general speeds relative to those materials. Now, the interface for the cutter and the tool that we're going to use to drive the cutter, it's 13 millimeter. So I've got a little Abbey socket ready to go here, flat ground socket to work on that. And I think if you've been working with forks a lot, we probably all noticed that in most cases the mounting surface is covered with paint and primer prior to getting down to the base material. So first step in the process is really to get rid of the paint and the primer off of there. And then once you've done that, you have to be very aware of how much material you can remove. So that'll be a case of just application of pressure by the end user and making sure that you're periodically checking your progress as you make your way from fresh paint still in place to getting it down to nicely prepared base material with the cutter. So we'll go through the process of the quick setup for the cutter, and then a quick video as well with utilization of the cutter on there. And real easy, real straightforward to be able to use. I've called it the post mount cutter quite a few times here because we're looking at a tool that is specific to the post mount standard. So post mounts on frame, post mounts on forks. It's not going to work with any of the other brake mounting options that are out there in the marketplace today. So dive right into the video with the initial setup, installation of the cutter onto a fork, and then follow that right up with the utilization of the drill to drive the cutter and get the surface prepared for caliper or caliper and adapter installation. So I've got the fork mounted in the stand, and I'm just going to get the shoulder bolt and get it threaded in with a 3mm hex key. And what you'll encounter as you thread this in is you'll run out of threads prior to the transition to the smooth shouldered section. Once you've done that, just snug it up, and you can verify that you've got that little bit of play back and forth. Now, I've got my 13mm flat ground socket engaged onto the cutter. I'm going to take a pass on here. You can see some metal flaking off of there. Blow the dust out of the way, and I can see that I still have a little bit down below just to finish getting rid of the remaining primer that's on there. The paint had already come off, and I think I'm pretty happy with what I've got here. So I'll go ahead and grab that 3mm again and back the shoulder bolt and the cutter off of the post mount, get a good clear inspection of what I've got. Looks pretty good, and pretty happy with the results there. Okay, now we've gone through the process of using the cutter on the post mount on this fork. Got a really nicely prepared surface, and one of the advantages of working in a machine shop is having a known, very flat, very straight piece of metal to pop onto here and really see that those two are in plane relative to each other. And with the cutter being utilized, we know that each surface is going to be perpendicular to the mounting hardware on there. So should allow us to hopefully get the disc brake set up on this fork and get it out there in the field and operating quietly and with all the function and power we hope to get.